They used to be everywhere. You knew the menu by heart, the logo was burned into your memory, and the drive-thru was a weekly habit. But in 2025, some of the biggest names in fast food won't be there anymore. So what happened? Was it inflation, bad leadership, changing tastes, or something deeper? The truth is, the fast food world is collapsing in places you wouldn't expect. Entire chains are vanishing. Locations are closing overnight. And for millions of customers, it's happening quietly until the lights are off and the sign is gone. Let's break down the 15 major fast food chains that will shut down in 2025 and what went so horribly wrong behind the counter. Number 15, Burger King. Once the king of flame-grilled burgers, now quietly backing out of the game. In 2025, Burger King is expected to shut down hundreds of locations across North America, and most people won't even notice until that familiar red and yellow sign vanishes from their neighborhood. So what happened? The warning signs have been building for years. While McDonald's raced ahead with mobile apps, revamped menus, and modernized interiors, Burger King lagged behind, stuck with outdated stores, slow service, and a brand that hasn't truly evolved since the early 2000s. But here's the kicker. Loyalty isn't enough when foot traffic disappears. Rising food costs, higher wages, and brutal competition from fresher brands like Five Guys and Shake Shack have put pressure on Burger King's margins. And in some regions, entire franchise groups are walking away, citing shrinking profits and declining relevance. And it's not just about the burgers. The breakfast menu never caught on. Promotions fell flat. And in a post-pandemic world where delivery dominates, Burger King failed to claim its digital space. So now, the company is shifting focus to fewer, better-performing stores and letting the weak ones die quietly. In 2025, don't be surprised if that Whopper craving leads to a boarded-up window and a for lease sign. Number 14, Subway. It used to be everywhere. Gas stations, airports, college towns. For a while, Subway wasn't just a sandwich shop. It was the largest fast food chain on Earth by location count. But in 2025, that empire is crumbling. Here's the truth. Subway overexpanded, fast and reckless. Thousands of franchises opened in the 2010s, sometimes just blocks apart. But when customer traffic dropped and competition tightened, those locations couldn't stay afloat. Now, closures are happening at scale. Closures. And not just in rural areas. Urban centers are losing stores too. But why the collapse? It's more than just too many shops. Subway has struggled with identity for years. Health-focused? Not really. Cheap eats? Not anymore. Fresh? The headlines about bread not being legally bred in some countries didn't help. Add that to stiff competition from brands like Jersey Mike's, Firehouse Subs, and Panera, and Subway's once loyal customer base is shrinking. Then there's the franchise drama. High fees, strict controls, and low profits have driven many owners to abandon their stores altogether. Some simply turned off the lights and walked away. Number 13, Hardee's, Carl's Jr. Two names, one fading legacy. Hardee's and Carl's Jr., once regional powerhouses in the South and West, are now struggling to hold their ground. And in 2025, that struggle may end with hundreds of locations going dark for good. So what went wrong? For starters, brand confusion. Most people don't even realize these chains are owned by the same company, and that split identity has become a problem. Different names, overlapping menus, inconsistent marketing. Customers are left wondering what makes either brand special anymore. But that's just the beginning. While competitors like Wendy's and Chick-fil-A evolved with modern apps, delivery partnerships, and cleaner store designs, Hardee's and Carl's Jr. stayed stuck in the past, with aging buildings, greasy menus, and declining foot traffic. The once bold ad campaigns are gone, and so is the attention. Then there's the financial reality. Rising costs and shrinking margins have hit these brands especially hard in rural areas where many of their stores operate. Some franchisees are simply walking away, while others are filing for bankruptcy. Number 12. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. But in 2025, fewer stores. Papa John's was once a top 3 pizza brand in the US, battling Domino's and Pizza Hut for market dominance. But lately, it's been battling something tougher: irrelevance. After years of public controversies, leadership scandals, and internal shakeups, the brand's image took a serious hit. While competitors raced ahead with new tech, delivery partnerships, and menu innovation, Papa John's got stuck cleaning up its own mess. And customers noticed. But the real problem is structural. In a post-pandemic economy where speed, digital access, and price sensitivity rule, Papa John's is too expensive, too slow, and too clunky. Many franchisees are now operating at a loss, and corporate is quietly tightening the belt, planning to shut down underperforming locations across North America and Europe in 2025. And there's another factor: the rise of fast casual pizza. Brands like Emad Pizza and Blaze Pizza offer customization, freshness, and speed, all in a modern, Instagram-friendly package. Papa John's, by comparison, feels like a relic. Number 11. Jack in the Box. It's quirky, it's chaotic. It's got tacos, burgers, egg rolls, and milkshakes, sometimes all in one order. But in 2025, Jack in the Box is running out of room to be weird, as dozens of locations are set to shut down across multiple states. For years, Jack in the Box thrived on late-night eats, offbeat advertising, and a menu that looked like a college student's fever dream. But now, that identity is starting to backfire. As customers shift toward cleaner brands, healthier choices, and faster service, Jack in the Box's anything-goes strategy is starting to feel outdated. Add to that rising food costs and declining sales, and the situation gets grim. While other chains leaned into app-based ordering, loyalty programs, and kitchen efficiency, Jack in the Box struggled to modernize. With aging locations, minimal innovation, and inconsistent quality. But the biggest issue? Franchisee dissatisfaction. Reports have surfaced of poor corporate support, broken delivery systems, and rising operational fees. Some owners are actively pulling out, and lawsuits have already been filed. Number 10. Checkers and Rallies. 2 brands, 1 playbook, and a shrinking footprint. Known for double drive-thrus, bold flavors, and low prices, Checkers and Rallies once promised big taste for small budgets. But in 2025, that promise is collapsing under financial weight, and closures are accelerating fast. On paper, the concept made sense. No dine-in, just quick service from compact buildings. But the reality? Rising labor costs, inflation, and a fragile franchise model have turned that efficiency into a liability. The brand's value-focused menu, once a strength, now means razor-thin profit margins that can't survive a single supply chain hiccup. And here's the kicker. Many of the locations are in economically strained neighborhoods, where even a small dip in traffic means disaster. Combine that with outdated buildings, maintenance issues, and weak digital infrastructure, and you've got a chain stuck in 2005 trying to compete in 2025. In fact, in recent years, multiple franchisees have filed for bankruptcy, and insiders say that as much as 1/3 of the chain's footprint is at risk of disappearing this year alone. Even their aggressive marketing, bold fonts, wild menu mashups, can't mask the operational bleeding. Number 9. Pizza Hut. Dine-in only. You remember the red roofs, the salad bars, the family dinners in vinyl booths? But in 2025, 5. The Pizza Hut dine-in experience is fading fast, and in many places, it's already gone. For decades, Pizza Hut was the face of family pizza night. But here's the truth. People stopped eating in, and the brand was too slow to pivot. While Domino's and Papa John's went all in on delivery and tech, Pizza Hut kept trying to save its sit-down restaurants until the numbers said otherwise. And those numbers? Brutal. High real estate costs, low dine-in traffic, and a rapidly shifting food culture have turned the old Pizza Hut model into a sinking asset. In fact, Yum! Brands, the company behind Pizza Hut, has been quietly closing traditional locations for years. But 2025 is set to be the biggest wave yet. The strategy now? Focus on delivery and carry-out only, with smaller Hut Express models replacing the big dine-in footprints. That means the old-school restaurants, with their checkerboard tablecloths and chandeliers shaped like stained glass, are being bulldozed, gutted, or sold off. Number 8. Boston Market. Once hailed as the future of home-style fast food, Boston Market is now in survival mode, and in 2025, the curtain may finally close for good in many cities. It started with a promise: rotisserie chicken, mashed potatoes, warm cornbread, comfort food, fast. For a while that niche worked, but over time the brand got stuck. While competitors innovated, Boston Market stalled. No mobile expansion, no rebranding, no cultural relevance, and the cracks became impossible to ignore. The real collapse began in the last few years. Unpaid rent, labor shortages, and lawsuits piled up. Some locations were shut down overnight, others were abandoned mid-shift. In several states, health violations and unpaid tax issues made headlines, and trust disappeared. But here's the final blow: new generations aren't craving meatloaf and creamed spinach. Fast food is moving toward bold flavors, global fusion, and digital-first models. Boston Market? Still stuck in 1998 and bleeding money because of it. Number 7. Steak and Shake. Once a Midwest icon, now a brand on life support. In 2025, Steak and Shake is expected to close dozens more locations. And the fall has been anything but graceful. It was supposed to be different. Steak and Shake wasn't your average burger joint. It offered sit-down service, retro vibes, and steak burgers that felt a cut above fast food. But nostalgia doesn't pay the bills, and over the past few years, the company has been in freefall. The problems? Start with an outdated business model. Full table service in a fast food economy just doesn't work anymore. Add in skyrocketing labor costs, crumbling locations, and aging equipment, and franchisees started fleeing fast. In 2020, over 100 stores were temporarily closed for restructuring. In reality, many never reopened. Then came the company's desperate pivot: switch to counter service and self-order kiosks, cut labor, and try to look modern. But by then, loyalty was gone, and new customers had already moved on to faster, cleaner, more relevant brands. And here's the harsh truth: the chain is buried under debt, and its parent company is trying to salvage what's left. 2025 will likely bring another wave of closures, especially in states like Ohio, Indiana, and Missouri, the very places where the brand once thrived. Number 6. Tim Hortons, outside Canada. In Canada, it's a cultural institution, but outside of it, Tim Hortons is quietly pulling back. And in 2025, the coffee and donut giant is expected to close dozens of international locations, especially in the US and UK. At home, Tim Hortons is untouchable. Hockey moms, construction crews, and office workers all swear by their daily double-double. But when the brand tried to expand globally, the magic didn't follow. In the US, Tim Hortons struggled to stand out in a market already flooded with Dunkin', Starbucks, and local indie cafes. The result? Low traffic, high rent, and confusion over what the brand really offers. But the real issue? Identity. Outside Canada, people don't associate Tim Hortons with comfort and community. They just see another coffee chain trying to compete in an already saturated space. And with rising operating costs and declining franchise satisfaction, the model just isn't sustainable anymore. In fact, insiders report that franchisees in New York, Michigan, and even the UK are bailing out, citing poor support, supply chain issues, and weak returns. And parent company RBI is now shifting focus back to its core markets, leaving expansion dreams behind. Number 5. Del Taco, LC. It was supposed to be the next big name in Mexican-inspired fast food. But in 2025, Del Taco is heading into retreat mode, with closures expected across multiple states and whispers of a deeper restructuring behind closed doors. For years, Del Taco carved out a niche between Taco Bell and Chipotle, serving burgers and fries alongside tacos and burritos. That hybrid menu attracted a cult following, but it also created an identity crisis. What is Del Taco exactly? And why should customers pick it over brands that do Mexican food or American fast food better? But the real issue is competition. Taco Bell dominates the low-cost late-night crowd. Chipotle owns the fast casual burrito scene. Even regional players like Qdoba and Rubio's are evolving faster. Meanwhile, Del Taco? Same locations, same look, same problems. After being acquired by Jack in the Box, the hope was revitalization. Instead, the chain faced integration headaches, supply chain delays, and flat sales. And with inflation squeezing margins, franchisees began closing shops in lower-performing markets, from Nevada to Florida. Number 4. Quiznos. Once a toasted revolution, now barely a flicker on the fast food map. Quiznos went from over 4,000 locations at its peak to just a few dozen in 2024, and in 2025, the end may finally arrive. Back in the early 2000s, Quiznos was the edgy alternative to Subway. Bold flavors, toasted subs, spicy sauces. It felt fresh. But then came the downfall. Overexpansion, franchise wars, bad leadership, and a complete failure to adapt to digital ordering or modern delivery trends. And while the world moved on to customizable bowls, organic ingredients, and clean design, Quiznos stayed stuck in the past, with cluttered stores, outdated branding, and shrinking visibility. Worse, many customers don't even realize it still exists. But here's the final nail. In 2025, several of its last-standing franchises are scheduled to close, and the company hasn't announced any serious revival plan. No rebranding, no comeback, just a slow, quiet exit. Number 3, A&W. It's one of America's oldest fast food brands, a name that goes all the way back to root beer stands and drive-ins of the 1920s. But in 2025, A&W is rapidly slipping into nostalgia and out of the real-world market. For many, A&W means frosty mugs, classic burgers, and a slice of Americana. But here's the problem. Nostalgia doesn't pay rent, and as customer habits change, A&W has failed to reinvent itself for the digital, delivery-first era. The brand still has loyal fans, but most locations are tucked into rural or outdated co-branded stores, often paired awkwardly with gas stations or struggling KFCs. And that co-branding strategy? It's become a liability. Confusing menus, diluted identity, and shared costs that aren't worth it anymore. Meanwhile, rising operating expenses and shrinking foot traffic have made many of these locations financial deadweight. Franchisees are quietly exiting the system, and in some states, entire regions have lost their last A&W without a word. Number 2, Hooters. Once a pop culture icon, now a brand running out of time. In 2025, Hooters is expected to shutter dozens of locations across the U.S. and internationally, and the reasons go far beyond economics. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Hooters built its empire on a controversial but profitable formula: sports, beer, and waitresses in orange shorts. But times have changed, and Hooters hasn't. In an era where social values, workplace standards, and branding expectations have evolved, Hooters still clings to an image that feels frozen in the past. And the market is noticing. Younger consumers aren't connecting with the concept. Families are avoiding it. And competitors in the casual dining space, from Buffalo Wild Wings to more modern sports bars, are simply doing it better, with smarter menus, better apps, and a broader demographic appeal. But here's the bottom line. Sales are down, especially post-pandemic. Locations in major metros are closing quietly. International franchises are vanishing. Even the company's own press releases feel muted. No big comebacks, no reinvention. Number 1, Red Lobster. Once the gold standard for casual seafood in America, now sinking fast. In 2025, Red Lobster is on the verge of a full-scale collapse, with mass closures already underway and bankruptcy rumors growing louder by the month. It wasn't supposed to be this way. For decades, Red Lobster was where families went to celebrate. Buttery biscuits, endless shrimp, and that iconic surf and turf menu. But behind the scenes, the business was cracking apart. First came the debt, then the private equity buyouts, then the management shakeups. All while labor costs rose, seafood prices surged, and inflation hit the casual dining sector hard. Red Lobster responded by slashing staff, shrinking portions, and raising prices. And customers noticed. Then came the final blow. In late 2024, several locations were abruptly shuttered due to unpaid leases, with suppliers and landlords suing for millions. Some reports even suggest the entire chain could enter bankruptcy restructuring in 2025 if no buyer steps in.